Raytheon's these are two headlines that basically say it all. Raytheon's profits boom alongside civilian deaths in Yemen. Company stock soars as bystanders are killed by Raytheon rockets. So if you don't know what Raytheon is a major U.S. defense contractor, which manufactures weapons for our military, for other people's military, and commercial electronics for military use. So this is a little backstory to set up what happened here. In June 2017, Trump offered to sell over 104,000 air-to-ground munitions, which includes CBU-12 bombs, along with 4 other U.S.-made guided bombs, to Saudi Arabia. In November, Saudi Arabia agreed to buy $7 billion worth of precision-guided munitions from Raytheon and Boeing in the coming years. So, unfortunately, those weapons have been used to kill civilians, thousands of civilians. So here we have the American politicians saying, oh, what's happening in Syria with the civilians being killed is an atrocity, and we're going to bomb the shit out of Syria because a hospital was bombed and 7 people were killed. So we're going to bomb Syria to, be the heroes to these civilians. Meanwhile, the U.S. is supplying weapons to Saudi Arabia, who's going in and literally wiping out thousands of civilians in Syria, Iraq, and Yemen all the time. So it's a bunch of bullshit. The United States does not care what's happening to the civilians in the Middle East. The United States takes money. The politicians take large amounts of money from Raytheon, who in turn, then the United States sells Raytheon's bombs to Saudi Arabia to kill civilians. So now we're seeing their stocks just skyrocket. The more deaths there are in the Middle East, the higher the stocks for Raytheon go. And in turn, the fat cats in Washington, the politicians who all pass these policies, who take campaign contributions from Raytheon, they are raking in the money as well. So, the price of innocent lives has resulted in Raytheon stocks skyrocketing. So this is what Raytheon contributed to U.S. politicians. In the 2016 election cycle, over $3 million in campaign donations and $11 million in lobbying. That was what Raytheon contributed during 2016. Raytheon contributed already in the 2018 elections to over $2 million in campaign contributions to Democrats and Republicans, and spent over $6 million in lobbying so far. And I want to be very clear. This is going to Democrats and Republicans. This year, it was like a 50-50 split, what they were giving. And back in 2016, actually, the biggest recipient of funds by Raytheon was Hillary Clinton by far. Hers was like 80,000 something. Trump did receive a lot from Raytheon back then, but not as much as Hillary. And here's the thing. Trump held stocks in Raytheon prior to becoming president, and there is no evidence and no proof so far that he has sold those stocks. So more than likely, Trump still holds stocks in Raytheon. And when Trump dropped those bombs on Syria to defend the 7 people, I'm sorry, I think it was like 11 that died in the hospital, he spent, when he dropped the 59 Tomahawk missiles on the Syrian air base, that was $60 million. Those all came from Raytheon. So, of course, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. You give me campaign donations, I'll make sure I drop your bombs and use your bombs and sell your bombs. But also, if Trump had stocks, or still has stocks in Raytheon, he just spent, dropped $60 million in Raytheon bombs. So, there you go. Now let's get into what's happening with these people and just some small examples. A Raytheon missile killed 23 people attending a wedding in northern Yemen in April. Those bombs came from the factory in Arizona. in the United States. Those bombs made in the United States were dropped on civilians in Yemen, killing 23 people at a wedding. A wedding. The groom and the bride survived, and then the majority of their family members died. Just please try to realize what I'm saying here. It's not a TV show. It's not a video game. This is real. Imagine that was your niece or nephew or child, and your family, your entire family was just wiped out. 3 generations of people wiped out because some asshat in the United States sold a bomb to some psychos in Saudi Arabia who decided to drop it on civilians and erase their existence. They're gone. Like that the whole family. This is the worst part. So the Guardian reported that the majority of casualties were women and children. Survivors described how jets circled the bombing site after the attack, preventing first responders from reaching the victims. So now not only have they dropped a bomb on this wedding party, but they're circling this area after they drop the bomb to make sure that the medical help does not get to those people. That is cruel. That is a violation of human rights. That is a crime. But because the politicians are the ones who make the rules, the army can kill innocent people whenever they want and get away with it. You have someone in the west side of Buffalo who comes from a majority African-American neighborhood selling marijuana. He could go to jail for life. He could go to jail and have bail so high that he can't get out. And he doesn't even get a hearing for 3 years. Yet you have government officials who take thousands of dollars from Raytheon, go kill, 23 people at a wedding party, and nothing happens. That has to stop. The only way we can get that to stop is to really vote progressives into positions of power in the United States. And I'm talking about people who do not take campaign donations from large companies and corporations, because if you're dealing with politicians who are bought off, they are puppets, and you have evil people pulling the strings as to what's going to happen, not only in the United States, but in this planet. So this is the worst part. So after 23 people were killed at this wedding by this Raytheon bomb that was made in Arizona, 4 days after it was April 22nd attack on the wedding party, the company Raytheon reported quarterly earnings had risen to $63 million. They reported 4 days after they dropped that bomb that their quarterly earnings have raised $63 million. A few more examples, and this is just a few examples because we could sit here all day. Go to the Air Wars website. It tracks all of the civilian killings in U.S.-backed air raids in Yemen, Iraq, and Syria. And why should we care? Why should we care? Well, I hope you do care. I hope you do care about people in other countries. I hope you do care about people you'll never meet and you don't know. I hope you care about them the way you would care about your neighbor and your own family. Because I don't know what else we're on this planet to do if we're not here to love each other and make sure that we all have a safe, happy existence on this planet for the one life we have. Maybe you believe in reincarnation one way or another. I care about people I don't know and I'll never meet, and I really hope that other people do as well. But it doesn't seem like it, especially on the conservative side. So Saudi-led forces used Raytheon bomb to kill, they dropped a bomb on a funeral. They killed more than 140 people. This was in the city of Sana'a. Again, this was in Yemen, and I'm just talking about Yemen right now, just to simplify this video. A Raytheon bomb was dropped on a funeral, killing 140 civilians at a funeral. As of March, Amnesty International had documented 36 coalition airstrikes that appear to have violated international humanitarian law. many of which may amount to war crimes. These have resulted in 513 civilian deaths, including 157 children, and 379 civilian injuries. And what I'm saying here is, I'm just talking about Amnesty International has investigated and called 36 of these coalition airstrikes a war crime. And that would be against Saudi Arabia, but Raytheon cannot be held accountable because there's a clause that says that Raytheon doesn't know how these bombs are going to be used. And they might be, and it literally said, the bombs might be used for their appropriate purpose. I'm like, what? I suppose I mean to kill terrorists, not civilians. So Raytheon cannot be held accountable for the fact that thousands of civilians are being killed with their bombs because they don't know that that's going to happen. They just feel like they're going to be used properly to kill terrorists. Well, I mean, if you're looking at the past 3 years, go to air wars and you can see the amount of deaths. Well, I guess Raytheon should know that after 3 years, their bombs are being used to kill more civilians than terrorists. Way more. The numbers are way higher that the civilians are being killed by their bombs. But they just keep selling them, and it's okay. They get off scot-free. So they've bombed hospitals. They've bombed entire blocks. If they say that there's one terrorist on a roof in a neighborhood full of people with apartment buildings, full of families, children, elderly, they bomb with drones even that building to get that one terrorist on top. At a busy market in southwest Yemen, 68 people were killed, including 8 children, 32 injured. Again, Raytheon bomb sold by the United States to Saudi Arabia. And this is a quote: Tuesday's bombings killed more people than this week's terrorist attacks in Afghanistan and Cairo combined. One bombing killed more civilians than terrorists had killed in 1 week in 2 different countries. That is how it goes every day with these bombs, with America the Great. And everybody in America is so safe. Imagine it was America who was getting bombs dropped on them. Their children, their family. Oh, this neighborhood got wiped out. This neighborhood got wiped out. Rubble. How can we sit here in the United States so safe in our homes and just be so clueless and careless? And I know you're not, but you know a lot of people are. They don't care. They don't care about this. They love Trump. Love Trump. Trump's approval rating went up. It's the highest it's ever been. They love him. Thousands are dying in the Middle East. They could care less. If it's not me, it's not happening. That's the mentality. Minimum civilians killed in by coalition airstrikes in Iraq, in Syria. 6,321, and that's not including Yemen. That is minimum, not including Yemen, and that is U.S.-aided airstrikes. 6,000, over 6,000. Another quote, they are also another stark reminder of the huge humanitarian cost of nearly 3 years of air attacks on Yemen by the Saudi-led coalition using U.S. arms against a rebel force. That sums it up. The Trump administration, like I said, yeah, $7 billion worth. So Raytheon sales rose just over $7 billion in 2016 to around $7.8 billion in 2017. The U.S. military action strike that Trump ordered was 59 Tomahawk missiles in Syria, $60 million, all going to Raytheon, which he may have stocks in. So very sad. I guess we can see why we're dropping so many bombs, right? We can see that. We can see that. So the rich can get richer and the innocent can die. And that seems drastic, but it's very drastic for these people because they're dying. And they're beautiful, innocent human beings who have nothing to do with American politics.